you might have met Gene at the Sync Live event. He was there. Gene Fisher, sales director, and we have the CEO, Dave Fenske. Thanks for joining me, guys. Welcome.
Thanks for having
Pleasure to
us.
be here. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited about this because I actually used the Staple Wasp at that event. So more on that later. Well, go ahead and tell us a little bit more about each of you. Dave, do you want to go first?
Sure. Well, I'm actually a lawyer by trade. Had my own law firm for many years, was the CEO of a manufacturing company. And the way this opportunity came to me is Sam Herman, who is the evil genius who designed this product, was a client of mine. And so he came to me, and Gene's a friend of mine, and they came to me and asked if I wanted to consider buying the majority interest in it, and that's what we did. So that's my background. So
That's so cool.
I'm not a natural in this industry.
Oh, well, it's great to have people coming into our industry from other industries because I think that you always can see things from a different angle. So I think that it's a perfect fit.
Good. I'm glad to hear someone thinks that, right, Gene?
Okay, over to you, Gene. Go ahead.
Yeah, my background is maybe not that uncommon from a lot of our contractors, our customers. I come from, you're asking about business, but my family and how I grew up all ties into it. I come from a family of 10 brothers and 4 sisters. I grew up on a dairy farm. So my roots are really rural upbringing. And Sam Herman, the engineer and evil genius,
Evil
we've been
genius.
friends for 25 years. Sam came to me and said, "I have an awesome product, and I really want you to partner in it and help me market it and sell it across the United States." So I was brought in. I've been around since gun one, since we've sold the first gun, and
Okay.
I always say it was an interesting start because I can remember delivering the first Staple Wasp that I ever sold and box of staples on a Sunday. I got through the fence on a landscaping site that had said, "Yeah, just drop it off." Well, they had locked the gate. Braxton was 2 years old. My son was 2 years old. I snuck through the fence, brought it to their door, left a note, and said, "Let me know how you like it." So so
And
I've been there
when was
since
that?
13 years ago. That was 13 years
Wow.
ago, and it's the first gun I ever sold to Central Landscape here in Minnesota. So
That is so cool.
And full disclosure, I was raised on a farm too, but I acquired no skills.
Oh, well, it goes either way, huh? Zero or all of them.
mom and dad
Exactly.
said, "Dave, you should be an attorney. You should be a lawyer."
You're not good on the farm, so
My
reading
brother would
between.
agree. Yeah.
Well, it takes all sorts, and that's you talk about Sam being the evil genius, and a lot of inventors aren't the right people to promote it and sell it ultimately. It takes a lot of different people to make a product successful. Well, Gene, it sounds like you're going to tell us the evolution of Staple Wasp then. How tell us how did Sam do this and why? What was the initial problem that he was solving?
I think that it goes back to the root of probably a lot of products that are developed. It was necessity is the mother of invention.
Yeah.
In the industry, there was in the erosion industry, there was guns that uh, um, similar products, magnetic sticks, but the majority of the market was putting staples in, and still some do by hand. The foot stomp method, throw and stomp, if you will. So an opportunity came to Sam to better the staple and how the staple is made, and naturally the gun followed. It was like Sam figured out again, the genius in him figured out a way to mass produce staples that worked very well in an auto load gun, which is what the
Yeah.
Staple Wasp is. And then the guns in the market were They fell short of a few of the needs of our customer base, of our contractors in the field, of people on blanket, and he came up with a lot of ways to make this gun better, how to make it faster, how to make it lighter, how to make it stronger, how to make sure that everything fed through the gun, so you were getting the value of every staple that you put on it and
Yeah.
fed into it, got into the ground. So, and along the way, I helped with, hey, I'm getting a lot of feedback from contractors that they would really like a better way of accessing the chamber of a gun. They would really like a gun
Okay.
that is very obvious that it's being run the correct direction. There was
Oh,
confusion in the field about even which way to turn the gun and how to run it. Can we bend the handle back? Can we add another rail so the staples never ride up on each other? So it's been just a constant evolution of what we can give to to our market that is going to help them on blanket in the field. It's not a fun job, but we
it's a
wanted to
back
make a tool
breaking
that
job.
it's backbreaking. We wanted to make
Yeah.
a tool that made it easier on them, faster, more efficient, more cost effective. You try to punch all those buttons.
Well, it's funny. A lot of people talk about, new technology and stuff like this. I see this as, this is technology in the form of a tool. It's an evolution of, you know, getting away from reaching down and doing that back breaking work. And I mean, getting dizzy from up and down, but like, just the wasted effort. So how many iterations of the gun have been made, or is it just, do you feel like it's just been like slight tweaks along the way?
It's um, I think that there's been upgrades. I would say probably in the 13-year span, there's probably been five different changes to the gun that
Okay.
contractors will call you and say, "Hey, I see you changed your handle, or I see that you put a lever
Okay.
action on there instead of, the butterfly pins." Or and so yeah, there's been some evolutions to it, but one of the things that I think I remember Sam telling me in the beginning is like, we're not making any changes to this gun because it started out good and we made it better. We're not making any changes to this gun that can't go back and we can tell a contractor, yeah, we made an upgrade. Send us the gun or we'll send you a part. We can update your gun to exactly what we're
Oh,
doing right now. So gun one,
really?
if they if Central Landscaping sent me that first gun I sold with my 2-year-old hauling across their
Yeah.
yard, I can upgrade it to exactly what we're doing right now. The gun that we present right now.
That's so practical. It's
Yeah,
not like an iPhone where you have to, yeah,
Where you
discard it.
can't fix
Not
it, yeah.
discard it.
yeah. And a lot of our contractors were saying, "Hey, we've seen guns in the industry before, and a couple of them are sitting in our shop. They're hat racks. After a year,
Oh,
they
no.
wear out, and we just spend such dollar amount, and there it sits. That's the sad
Yeah.
part about it. Our gun is completely parts replaceable. It's a component gun, and that's also something that we really wanted to give the contractor and the industry is that it's like any other tool they have in their yard and in their shop. You if you treat it right, service it, take care of it, you can buy parts for it, and it can be a like new gun,
Forever.
in yeah, forever, for as long as you want to take care of it and as long as you need it, it can be there for you. So
And along those lines, I was talking to a distributor, and when I was talking to him, he said, there are a lot of these guns in the bottom of retaining ponds because what what
They
what,
stop
what happens is
working.
in the field is if you get a staple caught in there and you can't get access it right away, you don't have a full shop there to take care of it, and you don't have 20 minutes
Yeah.
to fix it. And I think the genius in the product is the ability to get rid of a staple that gets jammed. It is a seconds type of project instead of 5 to 10 minutes, or the need to throw it in the retaining pond. And
Yeah.
when I saw it and I saw how simple the manufacturing process was and the need in the industry, that's what really got my juices flowing in terms of buying a majority interest in the company. And it's proven to be true. I mean, there aren't many, there are always some, but there aren't many people who don't see it as an improvement.
Mm. Well, and if you build a quality product that can be upgraded to, if you bought it 13 years ago, you know, and you can upgrade it to today's that you're selling new today. I mean, that's huge. That, and it also speaks for the quality that you made the original product and the base of the gun as well, that you can upgrade it and it's a tool for life.
Hmm.
So tell us a little bit about the manufacturing, because I believe it's totally USA made. Is that right?
Yes, it's completely made. The Our production facilities in Pelican Rapids.
Okay.
We buy the component parts from a company. Uh, it's called Urbank. It's within 90 miles of our shop,
Oh, cool.
and we buy the wire U.S. made and all the different component parts. So yeah, it's completely U.S. made.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Gene, were you gonna? Okay.
yeah, well, the product, actually, we assemble our product, and parts of it are actually welded and made in our shop. So, being a component gun, you assemble it, and there's pieces that we actually manufacture within Pelican Rapids, within our manufacturing sites, and buying, wire and rolls, and seeing the manufacturing process from a roll of wire to a clip of staples that are glued and bent and ready to feed into the gun. It's, there's a lot of things that are satisfying, like when you go out and mow the lawn and you're done in a half hour. I think that's our production process is satisfying to watch, because you see it from beginning to end, and using all U.S. products is important to us. It's important to our market.
Yeah, and I guess being so close by, it gives you a great handle on the quality control, and you know all the inputs, and so you can guarantee the output that is going to be dependable.
Right. And one thing I
Yeah.
wanted to talk about, and we're kind of past that part of it, but um, when you think about 13 years ago, you have Sam develop this gun. He reaches out to Gene to help him, and then he hires Kathy Baker, who was our office manager in Pelican Rapids. And the three of them, primarily with a little bit of extra labor, grew from zero to 1.7 million over a 12-year period, which is amazing. And
That is
one of the reasons why
fantastic.
that is, and Gene pointed this out, is service. We will
Yeah.
service any gun. A lot of contractors at the end of the season, they'll send us their guns. We refurbish them and send them back, because
Really.
we believe in making sure that it does what they need it to do. Because without that reputation, we can't access the huge market potential that we have.
Yeah.
And this gun's very adaptable. So, and so is our service. So if they don't send us the gun, many of our contractors, our customers, are really scrappy when it comes to fixing things. And so they'll just ask for parts. They'll order parts online or get it from their distributor, or ask
Hmm.
for it from us. And it's amazing their ingenuity, as well as what they can do. Our gun is pretty simple, but it's very complex as a whole piece.
Hmm.
And how they understand it, and the depth of their understanding of the gun is impressive sometimes. They'll send the gun back, and every now and again, it'll, I'm not being serious here, but there'll be they'll put a saddle on the gun. They'll send it back, and they'll have made some alteration to it. Like,
Oh,
isn't this
really?
cool? You
Okay.
know, so it's a credit to the market, to the intelligence of our field, of our market. So.
And what is the feedback like? It sounds like you guys are getting a lot of great feedback. So what do they say about it? How much time are they saving? What's the benefits to the contractor?
I'll tell you a story, and then Dave can tell you, add. But this is an actual story that happened to me. A contractor called me on a Monday morning, and he said, "Listen, I heard about your product. I have my team is out on a retention pond. We have 3 retention ponds to do. We've done one so far, and it took us today. It took us
Oh,
Monday to do that retention pond. We have 2 more to do. So would you be interested in coming out and showing us your product? And we'll see what it can do on blanket, with my team. It's this market is seeing is believing. So come
Yeah.
out and show me. So I went out with a friend of mine, and we brought a couple of guns and some staples, and they had done one retention pond with two guys unrolling by hand and two guys throwing and stomping or by hand, installing staples by hand. So we used the two guys that were unrolling, and took two guns and ran them behind these guys. And we did, so it took them, let's say it was 8 hours the Monday before to do the single retention pond. We had done the next two retention ponds, which were the same size. We
Hmm.
had done them by about 11:30 the next day.
Oh,
So, so you look at that, and you
that's
don't have to
huge.
go even into numbers. That person said, "I care about the price of the gun and the staples, but what do you need? How can I? I'm
Yeah.
sold."
Yeah.
And that's a seeing is believing. That's on blanket the reality of what these guys are doing. And yeah, they were overwhelmed, and they were good customers and are good customers ever since. So
Yeah, and I went on a sales call with Gene, and I won't tell you what city it was once I tell you the story. But we met with a distributor who also lays blanket, and he was saying how the gun changed his life basically in terms of how that's done. And he said there are other distributors in town. He said, but I won't give you their names because I don't want the competition.
Oh no.
So
but if
He's
you say that you're
breezing through
putting,
all his work. Yeah.
yeah, if you say you're putting one to four, say you're putting three to four staples in the ground with someone doing it by hand, that sort of production improvement, enhancement goes right through the process. It goes to your timeline. It
Yeah.
goes to the amount of stress that the people that are doing it have. These guys they'd done two retention ponds, and the same time they did one the day before. They're fresher, they're off to the next job.
Yeah.
They would have been 2 more days on that project. So it affects so many things. It's a small thing. It's a small tool. People tell me all the time, it looks like a pogo stick. Well, there's a lot more involved, but it does, and it also affects a lot more than a pogo stick. So yeah.
But the timeline, a timeline for jobs is critical, because what about weather? We're always working outside, and so you always have either other jobs to go to, or you have weather coming in, or you have deadlines. All these things, the faster, the more efficient. I hate to say faster, because it's about efficiency. You might be moving the same amount. The people using your tool are moving at the same speed that they were, but they're not going to get hurt. They're, it's ergonomically designed, staple gun. They're also, doing it sounds like 4 times the work that they were getting done in the previous method.
I'm glad you mentioned ergonomics because one of my clients is an expert in ergonomics. She actually owns a business that does pre-physical therapy at manufacturing plants. And so I
Oh,
called her and I said, asked her, I said, Beth, is there a way to measure the difference on the stress on a human body doing something one way versus another? And of course, she said, of course, I have an app for that. So she has an app on her phone. And so last Monday, we actually did that. We had my son, actually, who was on our sales team, put in staples the traditional way and then put in staples with our gun. And she measured the difference. And for those of you out there who follow us on Instagram and Facebook, etc., and if you don't, please do. You'll see within the next week we're going to hit a big marketing push about what the results were, because
oh, cool.
and I don't speak in those terms, but it shows Patrick's body what it went through doing it the traditional way, and then what it went through with the gun, and it shows yellow for no stress and red for severe stress. And when he's putting it in the normal way, he's red almost entire body, neck, shoulders, hips, knees. And then when he's using the gun, it's primarily yellow. And it talks about the difference in terms of what it does to the human body. And we knew, I mean, it's like Beth said, obviously it's easier to do it with your gun. But now we have actual proof through this that, yes, it's a huge difference in terms of the stress on the body.
Hmm.
And, a lot of our clients, most of our customers, they care about their employees. They
Yeah.
all do. and that's a big plus because if someone's under stress, they're going to eventually slow down as well. And so
Well,
it
they're
also
going to hurt
it's
something
also
or
the
slow down or both, you
right,
know?
right,
And
exactly.
also
Um,
they might not be your employee for long if you are stressing out and putting your employees at
Right,
risk.
right.
So,
I hear all the time on sites that blanket laying day is when contractors, site managers say, it's weird when we're laying blanket, that's the biggest sick day of any week because people don't want to do it. It's not any fun. So, it affects, like I said, it affects a lot of different parts of
Yeah.
what our customers are doing. And I'll date myself with the ergonomic feedback that we got. I was watching it, and it reminded me of, if you saw the movie Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger,
oh
it
yeah,
looked like
a
the
while
Predator,
back. Yeah.
where it's highlighting all the stress places and stuff. That's what the feedback looks back like. It was pretty cool. So
Oh, that is so cool. Well,
And
so
Patrick
you
Patrick tells me a story that he was at. We've been Gene and Patrick have been at trade shows, and Patrick said invariably he will have an owner walk by and look at us and then keep walking. His son, who's right behind him, will look at it and say, "Hey, Dad, come back here," because the son's the one putting the staples in, not the owner.
well, and you're right, and it's hard to maybe quantify the stress or how, you think of putting staples in a blanket as not being maybe that, hard of a job, but it's putting, 10,000 or however many
Mhm.
over and
Yeah.
over. And being aware of what that does to your employees, again, with that study, with your friend, sorry, I can't remember her name,
Beth.
but
Yeah.
Beth, that can illustrate what the son is whoever's putting in the
Hmm.
staples, what they're feeling. It's hard to, yeah, vocalize that. So
Yeah.
yeah, thanks for doing that study. That's convenient that you had a client that you could call on with an app and to actually measure
It's not
these.
what you know; it's who you know.
It's who you know. Oh, awesome. Well, so we've gone through the feedback from the crews, and I think really we've talked about one of the questions that I had was the ROI on the tool, but it sounds like really that's covered in what Jean mentioned. Oh, have we lost Jean?
I think we lost Gene. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
it's hard to estimate the actual ROI because there's so many factors to it. But again, it's one of those things. It's like Beth said with the ergonomics. It's obvious that there's an ROI. It's
yeah.
obvious that and while the gun is expensive, it's not overly expensive. There's a gun. There's a manufacturer in Australia who sells a gun and it's $1,500. And
Okay.
so we actually sell into Australia because of that. Um,
Wow.
and so the ROI I think is again pretty obvious. Gene, you're a better expert at that. We've got you back, so maybe you can talk about that a little bit. The ROI that our contractors experience.
yeah, I mean, the return on investment of this gun basically again comes down to labor. If I'm, let's say that I'll revert back to the retention pond
Mhm.
example. If I'm sending out two guys if they're unrolling by hand and two guys to do that are stapling by hand, now I can send a smaller crew to different sites. I can send one guy, maybe a two-man crew that can do the same amount as the four-man crew did. Imagine what that does for my productivity in a
Yeah.
day. And so we get a lot of that back, is that they're able to send smaller teams out and accomplish the same things.
Hmm.
So yeah, to a site manager they're always busy. They always have too many things to do. They're always working against weather. It's going to rain this
Mhm.
afternoon. I think that's where they're seeing it, is that it has such an impact on their crews, their teams, and how much they're producing in a day and what they can get done that week. So
And you kind of alluded to, Dave, that the cost is very competitive with this Australian tool. Do you want to say how much are your tools or the range of cost or what do you want to?
Gene, I'll let you answer that since
Okay.
you're talking about it on a daily basis.
So were you referencing the copper gun, or the
Yeah, I was
Australian
referencing the
gun?
cover. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if in comparison, this tool runs it's about triple the expense of our gun. So
Hmm.
I mean, in comparison, we're just able to offer it to our market at a much lower cost, and
Yeah.
they're looking at this as an investment. I mean,
Hmm.
if our gun sells at sells at $950 in the marketplace, that's I hear this comparison. That's like a deer rifle. They equate it to things that they have. Like, hey, we're hunters, we're fishermen. It's like it's a nice rod or it's a deer rifle, and so they equate it to things that they see every day. But it's a product that they know now, instead of amateurizing that out over a year or two, and then that tool is going to be done, and they're going
Yeah.
to have to buy a new one. Now they're looking at it like, hey, well, I can if I'm in business for 10 years, these tools can help us for 10 years. So
For 10 years, and you can upgrade them as you're adding more features.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that that's a really smart way to go. And it's, you know, if a lot of equipment was made like this, we wouldn't have to talk about all the waste and the, you're improving, you're building a tool that can be improved over time and you keep it for life. I think that that's ultimately the best kind of tool.
That's a
I
really
think you
good
made the
point, Angelique.
comparison.
In this era when companies are using planned obsolescence to make money, they make products that they know they're going to have to replace. That's where when Sam started and Gene helped amplify what he was doing. They're saying no, that's not how things should work. We're
Yeah.
all from farms. Sam is, Gene is, I am, and we understand that something should last. And too many things don't last anymore, and that's one thing that we battled, and that's a real value I think we bring to our customers.
And I think that's a really good, yeah, selling point. That and the safety aspect that you're going to be showing us all of the visuals of later. Stay tuned
Mhm.
for that.
Right.
That makes business sense. It makes business sense to buy
Mhm.
a tool that you keep forever, that you
Yeah.
upgrade, that you never throw away. You can continue to use, as well as now you're not putting somebody at risk as well of
Mhm.
hurting themselves or exhaustion, because
Right.
then you hurts get hurt anyway from exhaustion. Gosh, sounds like you have so much going on. It sounds like you have some great information to roll out about the safety aspects soon, so everybody stay tuned for that. What else do you have that you want to, do with this tool, or you or other people that you want to make aware of this tool? What's your vision, or your joint
I think our
vision?
market, yeah, I think our market has a need and a desire uh, um, for a biodegradable staple. Um, the the the
Yeah.
the the movement is to the blanket that we're stitching to the ground, that we're pinning to the ground, is starting to move towards being biodegradable. And sometimes it's even in stages of 6 months or a year, or that blanket will be gone.
Mm.
And so I think in some markets and in some areas, the movement is pushing harder and faster. It's more advanced, and we want to keep up with that need on blanket and for our customer base. That, okay, if the blanket is being biodegradable, can we make our staple biodegradable? Can we make what we're putting in the ground biodegradable? And so
Yeah.
we've been working as a team on that, and I we've made some hints, but I think that we're close to a product that can meet those needs.
That is fantastic news. Yeah, I
Yeah.
wondered if that was, part of the plan. I mean, I'm asking you live on on live stream, putting you on the spot, but Yeah, that is fantastic. I didn't know that you were that close to doing something like
Well,
that.
we're spoiling the secret for our marketing team who have
I
been.
know. Okay, don't tell anybody.
So hopefully no one's listening. So
We
we'll
and
take those slings
we're
and arrows. But
conscious.
go ahead, Gene.
We're conscious of also we're always thinking, okay, what effect does that have on our customer and our market and what we're trying to accomplish, and of course right away we came to, hey, well, it still needs to be auto fed, and can it still go through our gun? Well, there's differences between wire and biodegradable substrate, the formula, the product that you're producing. So we want to make, so we're our plan is to make a kit that will allow them to use the same guns that they have right now for wire, that will be able to use the biodegradable product as well. So we want to be versatile, just like our gun is. We
Yeah.
thought landscapers could, they do above ground drip line. Our gun has an attachment that'll help landscapers do that, and
Okay.
not pinch the irrigation line. So we want to continue to add to, our gun can do this, our gun can do that. It makes for that price tag to go, yeah, I'm spending this, but I'm getting all these things. So we continue to try
Yeah.
to improve in that area as well. Sorry, Dave,
Another
I cut
thing
you off.
is, even though we're a for-profit company, obviously, um, we could have designed this biodegradable staple and require you to buy a whole nother gun to use it,
Hmm.
and carry a lot of more profit. But again, we want to be friends to the environment. We want to be friends to the contractors that use us, and we want to be a long-term solution for everyone. I mean, the good news is that this market is so vast, and we have such a small portion of it right now. The way I describe it to my friends is, you've got the Atlantic Ocean in front of you, and we're using a kid's bucket to bail in. And so we will grow by increasing our number of customers, not by increasing the price that they're paying to us or the products that they have to buy.
And yes, I love that. And you're not creating more waste by
Right.
what your mission is. Yeah, you're um making that, you keeping that lifelong tool. I think that is it's great because I feel like a lot of products, and you said this, that we've been told that you have to have a almost a disposable product to keep income coming in, and you
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
Really, the polar opposite way of doing that is a quality tool that lasts forever, that you add to its capability. So kudos to you guys for believing in that and creating something that'll last a lifetime.
Yeah. Think of
Uh,
this as the anti-iPhone, because
anti,
it's the exact opposite of what we are.
not love the iPhone, but yeah, no, anti. We're not saying the iPhone's bad, but oh gosh. Well, how can our audience reach out to you guys? Give us some of your handles, your details to contact you, websites.
Sure. Go ahead, Gene.
Our website is the best way always to reach out to us,
Okay.
www.staplewasp.com. And it has we've actually redone our website recently, and to include a lot of different information, including videos and
Good.
service tips, and how to reach us for parts, and you can, obviously, we're an e-commerce website. You can buy product online. Our pricing is there. So yeah, we've really tried to enhance our accessibility, I guess, to our customer base, and our support to our distributors as well is always important. We've put a distribution site up that, if you're in if you're in Nebraska, Omaha, and you're looking for a distributor, who's closest to me, who of Staple Wasp partners can I reach out to? You'll find ASP is there. Oh, fantastic, they're close to me. Or Site One, or so. I think that tool has been really helpful, because we get calls all the time from the field like, "Hey, I watched your product on my cell phone. I need one. How fast can I get one?" So yeah, so
I need it
obviously
today.
it's a great question to answer, and it's also very nice to be able to point them to a distributor that's closest to them, to a partner. So I I know our social media team is going to say, Gene, you didn't mention, our LinkedIn and our Facebook and we're using social media to try. Our largest challenge in the last 5 years has just been people always saying, I didn't know you exist. Our
Mm,
exposure to the market to say we're here. It's for people to be able to find us. We've really enhanced that. Mallory and Mary have really teamed up to provide a wider net for us to throw and for us to reach our market. So
I'm glad you mentioned that, Gene, too, because my wife Mary is part of the marketing team, so I have to do a shout out to her. And she and Mallory, and then Amanda, who's doing our social media, have done a great job. And we decided a number of months ago that we weren't going to be just this boring product display thing on social media. So we decided to be somewhat irreverent, and Amanda's done a whole series of "Hold My Beer" uh, social media cast. So it's not only good for information, but it's good entertainment. So follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, because they're really good.
awesome. Well, and I use the Staple Wasp at Sync Live. Patrick filmed me while doing it, so I'll put a link on this podcast to that too.
Great.
But yeah, look up these guys' social media. I can say that you've taken it up a notch for sure. So great job, ladies.
Yes, exactly.
And I've seen Patrick on there a lot too. So he's been doing not only assessed by the app, but also doing a lot of videos. So
Yeah, he's doing a great job.
fantastic.
We're very proud of him. Yeah.
Well,
he's
Gene,
much
were
more
you going to say
comfortable.
something?
Well, I used to say Patrick is much more comfortable in front of the camera than Dave and I. So we'll send him next time.
We talked to him this morning. He's actually a little salty that we didn't have him on this podcast. So we'll have to
Well,
maybe do it
maybe we'll
again
have
where
to.
he can do it.
Maybe we should do a field visit. See if we can
There
get
you go.
get him live using the tool and yeah, showing us a real job. Yeah,
Exactly.
sounds great.
Yeah, we can talk all we want about how this tool improves the work site and is great for our customer base. But seeing it on blanket is
Yeah,
believing. That would be a great idea. So a lot of
and
visuals
feeling
on
it.
our website. So yep.
I mean, I was surprised because it's a big, you know, a beast of a tool. And then I
Mhm.
went to use it live, or he was recording me doing it. And I was like, oh, that's all. Okay, I can do
Mhm.
it. And
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not that muscular. So, well, guys, this has been fun. I think we've, helped educate people on why, what, how everybody that's been involved in the Staple Wasp journey. Loved having you on here, and yeah, let's do it again in the
All
field.
right.
Love it.
Sounds good. We appreciate the opportunity, Angelique.
Thank
Thank
you,
you so
Dave.
much.
Thanks, Jean.
You
And
bet.
we'll put some notes so you can reach out to these guys afterwards as well. So thank you for
Thank you.
joining us.
Have a
All right.
good day.
Thank you,
You
everybody.
too.